Welcome back. I'm Dano. This is my garage. I know it's been a while, and I appreciate anybody that's been sticking around as a subscriber. Appreciate that, you guys. I know my channel's kind of changed from the RC to, just kind of whatever. But there's been some stuff on my radar that I want to talk to you guys about and I want to bring up and just put out there because a lot of it may not be getting a whole lot of coverage by your mainstream news medias and whatnot. The biggest thing right now is train derailments in this country. As of today is February 20th, 2023, and there have been 7 train derailments in the country. First and foremost, I'm sure it's out there now. Most of you have probably already heard. I've already heard about the one in East Palestine, Ohio, which is just north of me. I have not been affected by that or anything like that, as far as I know. I know weather patterns have carried that majority of that stuff, towards Pennsylvania, West Virginia, stuff like that, and that sucks in general. Let's just do this chronologically, shall we? The first one was in Detroit, Michigan on February 1st. There was one hazardous tanker on that train. There was no spill. That was okay. Number 2 was East Palestine, Ohio. We all know how bad that was. They decided there was a derailment. Tankers were leaking. Government came and decided we're going to light it on fire. I guess that was the best idea. All those fumes, all that good stuff just went up into the air, and on top of what got spilled into the ground, it is now in the waterways. It is killing fish. I think the latest count I've heard, or what they're saying, and it's probably more now, there was 3,500 different fish that have been found dead. There's videos on TikTok, YouTube, you guys can go and check them out, of all these dead fish that people are finding in the Ohio River, along with chemicals that are in the river itself. I'm sure you've all seen the video lady throwing a rock in, and all the sediment and all the chemicals and all the rainbow colored stuff comes to the top of the water. Yeah, that's not good. Let's see. Third, South Carolina, in Inouye, South Carolina, on the 13th of February. There was one car that had hazardous material on that. There was not a spill. I'm sorry. That was the third one, yes. The fourth one, there were 2 things that happened on the 14th of February. One was in Tucson, Arizona. There was a train derailment. There was a nitric acid spill. The people there were told to shelter in place. Within, I think it was like a mile radius of the crash, residents were told to shelter in place. Why would they not be told to evacuate? I don't know. Also on that same day in Arizona, there was a tanker spill on I-10, which if any of you know anything about I-10, it's a pretty big interstate going through Arizona there. And that was also a liquid nitric acid spill. That shut down the freeway there for quite some time. I'm sure you can go and find videos of that good plume rolling across the freeway there. That was nice. That was nice. All that stuff going up in the air as well. Let's see here. Oh, also on the same day as the South Carolina derailment, there was a derailment in Texas, in Montgomery County, Texas, near Houston. There was a truck, I think it was a diesel truck, had crashed into the train, causing that derailment there. Now, what's interesting about that one is that there were 21 cars that were derailed, but they say none of the train cars were damaged. Well, that's what the officials say. Let's see. We got number 4 covered. Number 5, which was just today, this morning, the 20th, in my home state of California, up by where my mom lives, in Stanislaus County, there was a train derailment there as well. Couldn't find a whole lot on it other than a train had derailed, and that was Union Pacific. That's who the trains run on that side of the country. So yeah, 7 train derailments just this month alone. That ain't good. Oh, another thing is about the one from the Palestine, Ohio train derailment is Cincinnati takes in water from the Ohio River, which comes down from East Palestine, Ohio. Cincinnati has said they will not be taking in any water from the Ohio River due to that spill. How many other places along the way from East Palestine, which is in northern Ohio, all the way down to Cincinnati, which is the south part of Ohio? How many towns and cities and little, people get their water from that river that are going to be poisoned? All those fish are going to die. How many people fish from that river or any of the surrounding waterways? And it's all been poisoned. Let's move on. Let's see here. Kind of a small thing. Don't know how many of you pay attention to earthquakes. There's a good channel, an awesome channel guy. His channel is Dutch Sense, DUTCHSINSE. He methodically and scientifically covers earthquakes around the globe. He has predicted them. Then he's pretty much right on the money. Interestingly enough, you guys know, I'm sure that there's now been three massive earthquakes in Turkey. One was the 7.8, one was the 7.5, and then just here, I think it was yesterday, there was another one. I think it was a 6.8. It might have it down to a 6.5. I'm not sure. But watching this guy's channel and just doing my own thinking about things, you follow the earthquakes around the world and it's getting weird. Something's happening. I've also come across something that has said every 70 years the Earth's core stops spinning and starts rotating the opposite direction. I've heard that is occurring right now. Whether or not that has anything to do with the earthquakes, I don't know. Interestingly enough, there was an earthquake associated with, or right about the time, I think it was right after the time of the Ohio train derailment, and there was also an earthquake right about the time and at the location of, same thing with Ohio, location of the South Carolina train derailment. Associated with anything? Combined? Connected? I don't know. Moving on. I don't know how many of you have livestock in your yards, or say you have chickens, or maybe you live on a farm and you've got pigs, cows, horses, things of that nature. I saw something and read something that said that chicken feed is making the chickens produce less eggs. What I have to kind of sort of back that up is a friend of mine that I work with. They have their own chickens at their house. They take care of their own chickens. They were buying a particular brand of feed. I don't know what it was, but I was told that their chickens were up to 7 to 9 eggs a day, and they had dropped down to 5 to 6, maybe 7 eggs a day. This friend of mine saw something similar to what I had read and watched, and said that the feed was the issue. So what they did was they started buying their own oats, their own grains, potatoes, vegetables, things like that, and they started making their own feed, giving it to their chickens, and within 3 to 4 days, the chickens were back up to 7 to 9 eggs a day. Something to watch out for if you guys have been noticing any kind of a decline in the production of your chicken eggs, or maybe some of your livestock is becoming lethargic from the feed that you're giving them. Just keep an eye out for this stuff, you guys. Just keep an eye out for it. On that same note, kind of, sort of, we have 3 dogs. One of our dogs was getting really bad itchy on his butt area right above his tail, and he was constantly scratching. We kind of thought it might have been the food, but what we did, we started giving them raw eggs, cracking a raw egg on top of their food, which made them eat all their food. But within a couple of days, his skin was a lot better and he was not scratching anymore. So there's something else to keep in mind, you guys. I'm sure a lot of you've got dogs, maybe even cats. Cats might be the same way. Start maybe looking into giving them just little tidbits of better kinds of food, just here and there, just to help their diet. Same thing with yourselves. Moving on. Yes, I have notes. Moving on. Apparently, a report from Newsweek says that Putin is ordering long-range nuclear torpedoes with radioactive poisoning warheads to be armed on some of their submarines. I guess these nuclear warheads are or can be detonated remotely, not necessarily on impact. At the same time, the United States, I saw or came across something that said the United States is ramping up their weapons production for Ukraine forces. They're using old mills that haven't been used in years and years to try to keep up with the production of needed arms in Ukraine. What about us? Don't know. Don't know. One little tidbit of something I do want to touch on. I don't know if it's true. Heard something from a friend. Said that 2023 taxes for the Americans will not be refunded. They might be going to Ukraine war aid relief. I don't know. I'm not putting it out there as a fact. So, YouTube, watch your mouth. I'm just saying, it's something that I heard, something to look into. If anybody finds any research or can research that or finds anything on that, leave a comment for me down below, please. Kind of bringing things, one last thing I want to touch on before I wrap up here are the weather balloons. Oh my God, there's weather balloons in the sky. Come on, man. Really? Supposedly the United States was tracking the one weather balloon from its launch point from an island in China all the way across the ocean up into Alaska, where it supposedly got blown off course. Then they watched it come all the way down. Didn't tell Canada anything. Came into Montana. Somebody spotted it. Then they let it go all the way across the United States, going over multiple bases, military bases, before they decided, oh, hey, you know what? It's over the ocean out there. Now we can go shoot it down. Really? I'm not saying anything bad about Montana, but honestly, how many people live in Montana? You couldn't have shot it down then? You worried about debris falling? You wouldn't have had to have people swimming around in the freaking ocean looking for parts to a weather balloon. Could have been all scattered across the ground. Whatever, just my opinion. But, don't know. That could be, in my opinion, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. That could be one of those false flag things, you know? Hey, everybody, look at what's going on over here. Look at this weather balloon. Look at this weather. Oh, hey, people are, China. Oh, bad China. They're sending weather balloons. I think if China wanted to send something to spy on us, they probably wouldn't send a weather balloon. Just my thoughts. It was it was a civilian weather balloon that blew off course. Sorry, China, I want to get your story straight. One little teeny tiny thing I do want to touch on before I wrap this up here, you guys, and that is the river Euphrates. It's drying up. Take that for what you want. If any of you know anything about the Bible, there might be something there being touched on. So let's wrap this up, you guys, okay? Sum it all up. We've got train derailments happening across the country. Trains carry what? They carry food. They carry hazardous waste. They carry everything that this country needs to run on. So, much like the truckers, the semi-drivers, you know, all those guys, they make America continue and flow. When we've got all these trains being derailed, carrying food, coal, hazardous waste, cars, trash, who knows what they're carrying? They're carrying America. They derail, that stops a whole lot of things from getting to places that they need to be. And if it's food, guess what? You're not getting your food. I'm not getting my food in your local stores. Prices go up. Guess what? If America's not moving, America stops. And that's just what there is to it. On top of that, with the food not being beneficial, the feed not being beneficial to the agriculture, that's another big hit on the food supply of this country. So if the farmers and people in general can't produce food for themselves or for the country, and then we can't get it to where it needs to be, and then those trains that are being derailed are now poisoning the water supply, and not just where they're at, downstream as well, poisoning the atmosphere and the environment. So there's so much wildlife that lives off of a river, and just the ecology of life that is, you guys don't understand how beneficial that is just to our survival, even if you don't, go fishing or go hunting. United States and Russia are ramping up their arms. Take it for what it is. Weather balloons are being the biggest distraction of it all. So let's keep your eyes in the skies, okay? Train derailments happen. And much like the people of East Palestine, Ohio were told, they were told to, and I quote, trust the government. Don't be scared, be prepared.